It was the day they had been dreaming of. Ada and Victor's wedding was a grand affair. A perfect union of two families, two hearts. Ada, an accomplished lawyer, had met Victor, a successful entrepreneur years ago. Their love story was one of destiny. Their wedding day had arrived, filled with smiles, music and laughter. Guests marveled at the couple, and everything seemed flawless. But among the crowd stood Nina, Victor's childhood friend. She had been silent for months leading up to the wedding, watching the couple's happiness with a hidden bitterness that no one could detect. At the reception, as the newlyweds began their first dance, Nina approached Ada with a small velvet box. "I've been thinking about this gift for a long time," she said softly, her voice laced with something Ada couldn't quite place, an unsettling tone that didn't match her smile. "It's something special, something that will keep your love eternal." Nina handed Ada the box. It was a delicate silver bracelet with an unusual charm, a deep red stone shaped like a teardrop. Ada, unaware of the dark intentions hidden within the gift, smiled and hugged Nina. "Thank you. This is so thoughtful," she said, not noticing the slight smirk on Nina's face as she turned to leave. That night, Ada wore the bracelet as they lay in bed, her thoughts swirling with excitement and happiness. Little did she know, the charm on her wrist held more than just beauty. It carried an ancient curse, one that had been passed down through generations. The first few days of their marriage were blissful, but as the honeymoon phase ended, Ada began to feel different. It started with small things, a strange unease that settled in her stomach, a sense of dread that lingered in the air when Victor wasn't around. The bracelet felt heavier, tighter, as if it was becoming a part of her skin. At work, Ada became forgetful, distracted. Her normally sharp focus as a lawyer was slipping. She snapped at colleagues over minor things. It was unlike her, and it bothered her. But what worried her more was the creeping feeling that something was wrong. Something beyond just stress. Victor noticed the change. He tried to comfort Ada, but every time he touched the bracelet on her wrist, she would recoil slightly, as if the very contact made her skin crawl. One night, after an argument that had been unlike any they'd ever had, Ada woke up in the middle of the night to a strange whisper. It was faint, like the wind moving through the trees, but there was something about it that was eerily familiar. "You belong to me now," the voice hissed, sending a chill through her bones. As days turned into weeks, Ada's transformation was undeniable. Her physical appearance began to change. She lost weight rapidly, her eyes became sunken, and her once glowing skin turned pale. The once vibrant woman that Victor had married now seemed like a ghost of her former self. Victor became desperate. He took her to doctors, but they couldn't find anything physically wrong. Yet it was clear to him that something was very wrong. Ada was not herself. She often spoke of visions, of a dark figure following her, of shadows lurking in every corner of their home. But when Victor asked more, Ada's answers were vague, and she'd dismiss him as if nothing had happened. One evening, as Victor was coming home, he found Ada standing by the window, staring into the darkness outside, whispering to herself. The moment he entered the room, she snapped back to reality, her eyes wide and frantic. "You have to take it off," she pleaded. "I don't know what's happening, but I can't feel like this anymore. I'm losing myself." But when Victor tried to remove the bracelet, it wouldn't budge. It was as if it was glued to her skin. Panic set in as the whispers grew louder, more persistent. "Victor, do you hear that?" Ada's voice trembled. "There's someone here, someone who wants me." Determined to save his wife, Victor began his own investigation. He started looking into the bracelet, its origins, its history, anything that could give him a clue. What he uncovered shocked him to his core. The bracelet, he learned, was an heirloom passed down through generations, a gift given to brides by a mysterious woman whose family had been cursed long ago. It was said that the bracelet would bind the bride's soul to the spirit of the woman who gave it, slowly taking control of her mind and body. Victor's heart sank as he realized the terrible truth. Nina had not given them a gift out of kindness. She had cursed Ada, and now Ada was slipping away from him, bit by bit. In his search for answers, Victor found an old woman who had heard whispers of the curse. She told him that to break it, the bracelet had to be returned to the person who had originally given it. But there was one catch. It would require a sacrifice, something of great personal value, to reverse the spell. Victor knew what he had to do, but the price was steep. He had to choose whether to lose Ada forever or risk everything to save her. Victor confronted Nina in a dimly lit cafe, his heart pounding. "What did you do to her?" he demanded, his voice low and dangerous. Nina didn't look surprised, though a flicker of something cold danced in her eyes. She was never meant to be yours, Victor, Nina said softly, her smile haunting. You were always supposed to be with me. The bracelet, it was my way of claiming what should have been mine. Victor's fists clenched, but he forced himself to stay calm. Give me the way to fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. Nina's smile faded, and for a brief moment, her face twisted with bitterness. There is no fixing this. You should have stayed away from my gift. It's too late now. The bond is sealed. Victor's heart dropped. There must be a way. Nina paused, then spoke, her voice more sinister. There is one way, but it will cost you everything. The bracelet must be returned, but in the process, one must lose the one thing they value most. Are you willing to pay the price? Victor didn't hesitate. He would pay any price to save Ada, even if it meant losing everything. Victor returned home, his mind set on one thing, breaking the curse. He knew Nina's words weren't to be taken lightly, but there was no other option. Ada's condition was worsening. She no longer recognized him, her eyes vacant, her movements sluggish. The woman he loved was slipping away. He packed the bracelet into a small box and set out, traveling to the one place that might hold the answers. An old abandoned church at the edge of town. The church was rumored to be a place where dark rituals had once taken place, and it was there that Victor hoped to find a way to break the curse once and for all. At the church, Victor stood before the altar, the bracelet clutched tightly in his hands. The silence was deafening, and the air thick with an unnatural cold. He could feel the weight of the curse pressing in on him, threatening to consume him. With a deep breath, Victor placed the bracelet on the altar, then stepped back. The air around him crackled, and a shadowy figure materialized before him. It was the spirit of the woman who had cursed Ada. You have come to undo what has been done, the figure said, its voice echoing in the cold air. But you know the price. Will you pay it? Victor's heart pounded as he nodded. I will. I'll give anything to save her. The figure smiled, a dark, knowing smile. Then let the sacrifice be made. Victor returned home, exhausted but determined. As he approached the door, he saw Ada standing there, the bracelet gone from her wrist. Her eyes were clear, no longer clouded with fear or darkness. Ada, he whispered, unsure of what to expect. Ada smiled, a soft, relieved smile. Victor, I'm back. I'm really back. Although Ada was free from the curse, Victor could feel the weight of the sacrifice hanging over him. He had lost something precious in the process, his career, his reputation, everything he had worked for. But Ada was safe, and for that he would give up everything. As time passed, Ada and Victor rebuilt their lives, but the shadow of the curse always lingered. Ada had been freed, but Victor knew that the darkness never truly left them. Nina's jealousy had almost destroyed them, and though they had won this battle, they both knew the cost of true love. And as they sat together in the quiet of their home, they knew one thing for sure. Love was powerful, but it came at a price, and sometimes that price was everything.